You know, back in the old days, computer displays were often in a heavy white boxed CRT monitor with really low resolutions. Games back then weren't that power hungry and as demanding, too. But nowadays, the battle for graphical fidelity has heightened, and we're seeing a newer generation of games being developed with a keen eye for aesthetics. Display technology isn't one to fall behind, too. It certainly has to keep up with the times. If our choices back then were extremely limited to just the brand and the size, today monitors come in different sizes and factors. Depending on the preference and the price, users can pick a combination of options like the type of LED panel, the size, the refresh rate, the color accuracy, or the curvature of the screen, among other things. One of these choices for everyone's consideration is the Samsung CRG5 curved gaming monitor, be it for a maximum spec monster or just for a bang for buck build. The CRG5 is a 27-inch curved monitor with a 1500R curvature. The monitor is a VA panel instead of the usual TN or IPS LED panel for its display, housed in a frame with extremely thin and clean-cut bezels at the sides and the top, and a small unintrusive lower lip for your standard fare logos. It has a small analog knob or joystick at the center bottom lip for its in-house menu navigation. The back part of the monitor houses the 75 by 75mm VESA mounts and a multitude of inputs, like two HDMI 2.0 ports, a DisplayPort 1.2, a USB port dedicated for firmware upgrades, a headphone jack, the power input that connects to an external power brick, and an anti-theft locking slot. Additional specs of the CRG5 include its insane refresh rate at 240Hz. This is combined with a high contrast ratio of 3000:1, a 4 millisecond gray-to-gray response time, a resolution of 1920 by 1080, and NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility. Like every other monitor, the CRG5 is simple to set up. Just plug and play. Samsung scores points for the CRG5's impressive picture displayed out of the box. Images have a remarkable vibrance, and the monitor's default brightness setting doesn't strain the eyes. Being a VA panel, color accuracy is also on point at default settings, plus built-in presets and customization options are present in the menu for you to tweak to your preference. The 1500R curvature might sound a little too extreme, since the common measurement is in the upwards of 1800R for other monitors in the market. But with the CRG5's 27-inch display, the curve looks and feels respectably modest. The curve offers a relaxed field of view and covers the periphery clear enough to provide a decent level of immersion. Combined with its vibrant display, the view from the front is a generally comfortable experience. The most noticeable caveat in the Samsung CRG5 is its maximum resolution of 1920 by 1080. By keeping the resolution to its standard fare 1080p, the CRG5 tries its best to keep the price at a reasonable rate while still performing decently for games. Unfortunately, part of that caveat is having a pixel density of a measly 81 ppi. With clear eyes and a viewing distance a bit closer than normal, the pixels on screen tend to be slightly visible and might put you off a bit. For the purposes of this review, we've playtested games such as Remnant from the Ashes, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Warframe, Overwatch, and Monster Hunter World. When you plug in the CRG5 for the first time, it acts just as any other monitor would. But where it really shines is in games, of course. The changes are significantly palpable after making the jump from our default 60Hz flat LED panel to this curved monitor's 240Hz display. This is especially true for games that need the competitive edge, in particular first-person shooters. What you'll notice immediately is how smooth the images in the display come together. Apart from the 240Hz refresh rate, the CRG5 is also G-Sync compatible. Seeing these two features work together gives you animations that almost immediately immerses you in the game. From our tests in Remnant and Sekiro, we were able to push past the 60 to 80 FPS mark with barely any noticeable screen tearing or blurring. Movement around the world felt more seamless and animations had an overall smoother feel to it. Games like Overwatch benefit more from the insane refresh rate, especially in crucial split-second shots. In our quick play tests, there was a significant change in what we were viewing on screen with the CRG5. Player movements and projectiles were easier to track even from long distances, and targeting was more accurate. Unfortunately, despite the high refresh rate and the high FPS count in Overwatch, it doesn't really do much to improve my performance in-game. My aim is bad and I still keep dying, so I'm sorry to my teammates. The downside to the experience is possibly being unable to fully utilize the potential of this monitor. Frame rates won't always be constant, just like in the crowded areas of Warframe's market or in Cetus, or perhaps in Monster Hunter World's maps with a lot of foliage or area to render. And in some cases, there's no real advantage to using a 240Hz monitor when playing some single-player games except for the really buttery smooth visual experience. Some games even have a frame rate cap on them. Nonetheless, the CRG5 is still an impressive piece of technology that we think is still a choice worth considering in today's monitor trends. The CRG5 positions itself at the midpoint of the monitor market. It sits right between the demand for your standard fare monitor that can impressively display graphically immersive visuals and that niche of competitive gaming where the high refresh rates help in split-second decision-making and accuracy. The 1080p cap at its resolution can swing either way, depending on your preference, but it does take into consideration the average graphical processing power that most PCs have today. The 240Hz and G-Sync compatibility are the CRG5's biggest draws here, and it quietly positions itself in a competitive price with a $399 price tag and a local price of 22,000 pesos. The Samsung CRG5 for its specs and features rests comfortably as one of the more decent options that make it quite future-proof. It can comfortably catch up with the graphical demands of the current generation PCs and still foreseeably be usable for the next few years. For competitive FPS gamers, the CRG5 offers that extra edge and is one well worth investing on. For the rest of us, it's definitely one of the better options out there today. Thank you so much to Samsung for sending us the CRG5 for review. If you like our content, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's at Otakultura, OTAKULTURA. We also have a new YouTube channel, OTK Channel 6689. We will be migrating all of our videos there, so please don't forget to subscribe. That's all for now. See you next time.